Thank you, friends, Shabbat Shalom, and greetings to you all. Where has this year gone? I look at the sky. I can see the position of the sun and the moon, and I know there's about a quarter moon. So I know we're about 3 weeks from the new moon, which means approximately 3 weeks from the fall equinox and Rosh Hashanah. The first day of the 7th month, the day that ushers in the 10 days of awe, the days of self-examination, of judgment by the greatest judge of all, as we face introspection during the high holy days. We get used to the change in seasons, the inexorable march of time, punctuated and managed by celebration of holidays, national, religious, universal, your country's national holiday, Christmas, the change of seasons marked by the equinox or solstice, or personal ones, birthdays, anniversaries, rites of passage. Some things are hardly noticeable, either because they fall into our expected pattern of life or because they happen over a slow-motion backdrop that simply becomes unnoticeable. The precession of the Platonic year, or great year as it is called, and changing ages is one of those unnoticeable events. Each age takes approximately 2,160 years, and the great cycle of what to us is 1 year, but to Plato was the perfect year, the return of the constellations and fixed stars to the same position, takes 25,920 years. You'll never get to see a great year, let alone one of its ages, since the best you'll do is live for about 3.5% to 4% of an age. But to get an idea of what it's talking about, watch a gyroscope spin and its axis returns to the start position very quickly. And you're watching it would be like God watching his universe in motion. It's the time of the season when love runs high. In this time, give it to me easy. Let me try with pleasured hands to take you in the sun to promised lands, to show you everyone. It's the time of the season for loving. Now, we don't notice certain amounts of time, but we notice all the other little bits of time. We notice that the summer's disappearing, fall is coming. And we know when the solstices and equinox come. But one of the great goals of man has always been to try and live in a peaceful, calm, non-judgmental world. Judgment surrounds us all the time, by our friends, families, governments, religions, and perhaps most damaging of all, by ourselves. We've read several times in the Bible how we should not judge. This week we are reading a parsha titled Shoftim, Judgments. Now, without knowledge, we judge. It is one of those unnoticeable things. Without knowledge, we condemn. We obey. We join the mob. And we've been warned about the mob many times. I walked along the mobs gathered to mindlessly protest the other day. It's what fuels this anti-Israel, anti-Jew rhetoric. Yet it is horrible that there is suffering. Not just in Gaza, but elsewhere. But who checks to see where the information comes from? Most people never do. And unfortunately, most of the fatality information about Gaza comes directly from the terrorist organization that is driving the agenda. Start to ask more. Who's distributing the aid? If you don't know, do not judge. We're all horrified by what's going on. But find out for yourself before you judge. Now, we're now entering September, the month when France will make its proposal to the UN for the recognition of a non-existent Palestinian state, in which their wording called for the right of return afforded to any Arabs who fled during the 1948 Israeli War of Independence, which nullifies the recognition of the State of Israel. It also allowed anyone who lost property in leaving to reclaim that property and move back into those homes. Who wrote this? Better yet, who actually read it? Now, a senior Hamas spokesman recently said, The initiative by several countries to recognize a Palestinian state is one of the fruits of October 7th. Poison fruit from a poisonous, detestable action of genocide. Now, before jumping on a bandwagon, people should read for themselves. There should be peace throughout the world, without a doubt, not just in a region, but the world. But there's a huge difference when Jews in Gaza are either dead or hostages. But Palestinians in Israel may be in parliament, teaching in universities, or doctors or administrators in hospitals. It's a big difference. Now, as we read this book of words with its retelling of the law, let's take a quick brief journey through time and see where we were and now where we are. And a lot of that time has been unnoticeable because we don't notice things that take place over a great span. You witness creation, the growth of man, the establishment of great nations, and the fall and struggle of man to rise again. Man falls, nations fall. Struggle with faith. We saw the birth of monotheism. Incredible tales of karma, of transition from slave to ruler. The growth of one man as the intermediary between God and man. We saw the plagues for their incredible power, effect, and as an announcement, we saw the great gift of freedom, the epiphany on the mountain, with simple rules for life, very simple, for the cosmic, for the world we live in, for our fellow sojourners. 3 categories. The journey through the wilderness, miracles, every step of the way. All of these great events, simply a macrocosmic projection of what we go through in our own lives. We fall and rise. We struggle with faith. We relish freedom. But we also live like slaves. We let fear rule. We often ignore the myriads of miracles in our own lives. From cells dividing and forming and coming, from the primordial in utero waters of birth to coming forth and witnessing, letting there be light. Our growth and development as children and youth, learning, doing, being, striving, emulating, understanding and learning our roles in life. Our individual struggle with faith, our position, our own journey through our own wilderness of fear and lack. These are scenes played out in the lives of men throughout time. And always, we keep retelling the rules, the laws, the stories, because we learn through stories. Our retention is actually 11 times greater through story. 11 times. And you each have a story of your life. And that's the story to tell next Passover. The story of your life and how you overcame fear. Be the real life change agent example. The example someone can emulate. And friends, songs are nothing but short stories. You know the words. In fact, you probably remember the words to all the songs you loved. You can sing them whenever they come on the radio. They invoke memory and feelings and trigger a new direction from where we were. I've been thinking about our fortune. I've decided that we're really not to blame for the love that's deep inside us now is still the same. And the sound we make together is the music to the story in your eyes. It's been shining down upon us now, I realize. Stories. We love stories. I remember many years ago, many years ago now, studying with the great writer and literary theorist Northrop Frye, who probably most of you don't even know who he was anymore. He once suggested to me that there was really only one story from which all fiction came, from which all modern stories come. And that book was the Iliad. It was the one story that contained everything all subsequent tales told. Now, I would take a book that actually predates it, the Bible, but the story Bible, not the book of priestly ritual or the retelling that we're reading now, but the Bible of Genesis, Exodus, and Numbers, the story of creation and man, of the fall from grace and the steps to get back. culminating in our own journey through the wilderness, camped on the edge of the promised land, but never crossing over. The story of our lives, of everyone's lives. And of course, one of the great stories is coming up, Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year, the real story of our life. It begins on September 22nd this year. Its birth is a story. Its entire narrative is a story. We call it New Year's, but it's not New Year's. It is an unnamed holiday in the Bible. It's only referred to as Yom Teruah, a day of horn blowing. The blowing of the horn, or shofar, was for very specific reasons. And this day represented something much more than New Year's. It was a calling, an awakening. It is the awakening of the spirit of man and a chance to look, to examine, to change and correct course. And we're going to talk about it as we get closer and prepare to gather for the days of awe and introspection. Like when we come together and gather as a community, a chavur, a fellowship. So we accept all beliefs, we accept all love. So we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites all of us in this community house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. So once again, please do go ahead. Invite everybody you know, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov, come together. Hine Matov, Ubanayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov, Ubanayim, Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. 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 Together. And we support each other in this community. So let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's part of your Kavanah. Your intention that you put out to the universe, it's your goodwill. Goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you correct. It is your intention that sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives, my friends. And it's your intention that sets it back on track. And it's goodwill, energy, light that we send to help heal whoever you know that needs healing. Healing and renewal is for everyone. It floats through space, finding those in need. So send it out for those you know and for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love or just plain goodwill. Focus on them, call their names. It's not just for people, it's for our pets, it's for the earth. It is the healing of the world, the tikkun olam. That's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. And a part of the healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It's for those on our hearts and our minds. So let's all send energy for the people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers for those always in need of assistance, because we pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us. Let's continue to pray and send healing energy for the hostages still held, still in prison, still languishing, forgotten by new wars, new events, new celebrations. Another week passed and nothing's changed with them. Instead, we can now focus on the horrible shooting in Minnesota. That some people are complaining that, prayers do nothing for anybody, but prayers do a lot for people. So never stop praying. God continues to bless all the people who need blessings. He blesses the hostages. He blesses the families of these poor children. He blesses all who love and support them. Time will not erase these people. Let's continue to pray for all of them and for the downtrodden everywhere. And of course, always for those closer to us, for the fairy godmother, for Inura and Winston, for Alan and Charles, for the MW, for Snoopy, Miriam and Bill, for Gabby and Amin, for Carson, for Jess and Trevor, for Callie, for Terry, for the elf, for Sabrina and Dave, for Maria, for Pinky, for Pam, for Alana, for Johnny and Fern, for Kathleen and Mean and Carla, for John and Maria and Dory and Gloria, Connie and Ronnie, for Tally and Mayim, for Danny and Nina, for all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include all the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere, for everybody you know in need, for the whole world, for Rosemary. We pray for all those who need prayer. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, the goodwill and love we all send out. It just circles the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit, and spirit, my friends, never dies. Me, Sheberach, Avotenu, Makor HaBracha, Limotenu, may the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Misha Baruch, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing, which we call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Misha Baruch, may He who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now we're entering the last month of the Hebrew year. Tempest fugit, time flies. Here we are, summer's waning. We have the great new moon coming up on the 23rd, the new moon of Virgo. Rare black new moon for the month of healing. Last month of the Hebrew year, Elul, a month in which there were actually no holidays. So we could focus on ourselves, our healing, our preparation, rebirth and renewal for the 10 days of awe. Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, the days we judge ourselves and stand before the greatest judge of all. Now this week we continue the retelling as we read shoftim, judges. Judges are in the news, just about everywhere. They're in the news in Israel. They're every day in the news in America, especially with all of the lawsuits against whatever the government wants to do. And they were in the news 3,000 years ago in the Torah. And they've always been very important. Don't want to burn nobody. Don't want to be burned. Don't want to learn from nobody what I gotta unlearn. Don't want to cheat nobody. Don't want to be cheated. Don't want to defeat nobody if they already been defeated. But if you do right to me, baby, do right to you too. Got to do unto others like you'd have them. Like you have them. Do unto you. Isn't that just the golden rule? Do unto others as you have them do unto you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Everybody. Don't judge. Treat everybody that way. And yes, we burn people and we are burned. We learn and then we have lots to unlearn. We still cheat and are cheated, even those who've been defeated. We do not have to do any of those to anyone. When we do them, we are doing it to ourselves. Now, this week's retelling of the role of the judges, it's all summed up in Deuteronomy 16:18. You shall put judges and officers in all your gates that the Lord your God is giving you. For your tribes, they shall judge the people. Judgment with justice. Now, what a powerful statement, because we have seen that judgment and justice are too often not the same thing. That we had to be told in the beginning that judgment needed to be done with justice speaks volumes about us. You shall not bend judgment. You shall not recognize a face. You shall not take a bribe, because bribery will blind the eyes of the wise and undermine the words of the virtuous. Justice. Justice you shall pursue so that you'll live. The importance of true, pure justice cannot be underestimated. It is equated with living. Sometimes it's defined as the principle or ideal of right action. There's an order to the universe, one we cannot always see because we don't see a lot of the things over the course of time. And it's also one we cannot always understand because we don't see it over the course of time. It is the nature of things. It is the universe's justice. Now, for many, it's nothing more than karma. In that system, you're treated fairly. And you can always know you are listened to and judged fairly. Instant karma's gonna get you. Gonna knock you right in the head. Better get yourself together. Pretty soon you're gonna be dead. What in the world you thinking of? Laughing in the face of love. What on earth you trying to do? It's up to you. Yeah, you. Now, biblical justice was just different in one way. It was community justice. All participated, especially in capital offenses, which is why the death penalty was a rarity in ancient Israel. Deuteronomy 17:6. On the word of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall the one who was to die be put to death. One shall not be put to death on the word of 1 witness. The witness's hand shall be on him first to put him to death, and all the people's hand after that. Now, numerous commentators discuss the first half of this verse, but not the second. It is, of course, significant that witnesses must know if they testify against someone in a capital case, they will have to strike the first blows against the defendant themselves. That conveys vividly how serious their testimony is, but it is at least as significant that all the people participate in the execution as well. Justice is participatory. It's not handed to a nameless executioner. We take responsibility. And the Parsha ends with an amazing prediction. And with it, actually, a clue as to the possible authorship of this book. We're told the people will want a king. And with it comes a very specific warning. For the king there is to be no excess. Not too many horses. And Deuteronomy 17:17, he shall not get himself many wives, so his heart will not turn away. And he shall not get himself very much silver and gold. Look around. How many of our leaders are too occupied with these same excesses? You know, we all read the stories about the people who go into Congress or Parliament with nothing and come out multimillionaires. And then an amazing requirement is attached to the king that should be attached to probably everybody. And it perhaps was designed to help keep him humble and grounded. Deuteronomy 17:18. And it will be, when he sits on his kingdom's throne, that he shall write himself a copy of this instruction on a scroll from in front of the Levite priests. Kingship came late to Israel. It was not what it was designed. It almost became like a joint rule instituted, checks and balances. The king had to be chosen by God, and so we see the rise of prophets picking and anointing the king. Samuel designated Saul and David. Nathan designates Solomon, and on throughout history. But the king had to rewrite this book of instruction as his reminder. Now, the stories of the kings of Israel in the books of Samuel, Kings, and Chronicles convey that kings are acceptable if the people want them, but their power is limited and balanced by the power of the prophets. There was this double thing. And kings who do not listen to prophets or who imprison or execute them do so at their own peril. Now, this book of Deuteronomy was lost for almost 1,000 years. That's why people wonder, could this retelling of the law that we've been reading, with its changes and slight differences, simply be one of the kingly copies? I think there's a good chance it is. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred. So is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light, and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everybody. And end to terror and hatred. Remember, we're a community, my friends. We learn together. We celebrate with each other. We love each other and we share this ride together, men and women equally. Let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive and learn to love. Open your hearts, honor the relationships of your life, and tell those you love that you love them. And examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe. We set in motion all that happens in our lives. It's our intention, our kavod, our cause, our effect. Everything's linked. You always have time to forgive and be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad, so acknowledge what you've done wrong to yourself, to God, to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. Do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you. As you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? Because if you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. Keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching. We all teach everybody. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Never follow fear, always follow love, because love is always in front of you. At work, to be present in the body. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness, in your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. Love with the heart, because we're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. Be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. Continue to explore faith and belief, what they mean to you. Never accept shame as a natural state, because whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together. We learn together. We help each other, because we are each of us simply trying to find love and acceptance and support on our journey. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they mean. You're never alone. Listen to the voice of God as he talks to you. Remember your connection to God and all that's been created, in body and soul and mind and spirit, in time. It's a part of you. It's a part of me. It's a part of all of us forever. Just listen to the voice of God and enjoy the journey. We are still on the road in the wilderness, and all the things we see, the people, we see them forging a nation as we forge a nation, a code of laws to live by, not just of ritual, but ethical. We see character and understanding of the interconnectedness of all form around us. We see the reality that we are forever blessed, because we're all on the same journey. The blessings of life are for all, but sometimes you have to open your eyes and see them. But there must be justice in life. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Treat everybody the way you want to be treated. No, you won't always be treated back the same way, but don't stop being that way. Fairness and decency. And you may have to stand up for your beliefs, and you have to stand your ground and stay that way. Well, I know what's right, and I got just one life in a world that keeps on pushing me around, but I stand my ground, and I won't back down. Stand your ground. Be there for fairness, for decency, for justice with judgment. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye.